Dad ignored my graduation, then saw me on Forbes magazine cover and suddenly remembered he had a daughter. Hey family. Hit that subscribe button, drop a hello in the comments and tell us where in the world you're listening from. Alright, let's continue the story. I straightened my graduation cap one more time, scanning the auditorium crowd for the fourth time in 10 minutes. My phone sat heavy in my palm, the last message I'd sent him still showing read 2:47 p.m. The ceremony started at 3. It was now 3:15. Maya Richardson, the announcer, would call soon, and I'd walk across that stage with my master's degree in business administration, summa cum laude, to absolutely no one who shared my blood. My best friend Jasmine squeezed my shoulder from the seat beside me. Girl, stop checking that phone. You know he ain't coming. I did know. Deep down, I'd known since he RSVP'd to my brother Larry's golf tournament the same weekend, barely glancing at my invitation. This is different though, Jazz. I'm the first person in our family to get a master's degree. First one to even finish undergrad without his money paying for it. My voice cracked despite my best efforts. The student loans crushing me were proof of that. $73,000 worth of proof. Dad had paid for Larry's entire undergraduate and law school education at prestigious universities. My younger sister Bethany? Full ride to her dream school, courtesy of Dad's checkbook. Me. I got, you're smart enough to figure it out yourself, Maya. Besides business school, that's not a real degree like law or medicine. I'd worked 3 jobs through undergrad. Slept 4 hours most nights. Built a small consulting business from my dorm room that somehow, miraculously, kept me fed. Maya Richardson. My name echoed through the speakers and I stood on shaking legs. The walk to that stage felt like miles. I could hear Jasmine screaming my name, her mama too, and my mentor Professor Easley applauding wildly. But the empty seats in the family section screamed louder. I shook the dean's hand, accepted my diploma, and smiled for a photo I'd probably never look at again. As I walked back, I caught sight of other graduates being swarmed by proud parents, siblings, grandparents. Flowers. Balloons. Tears of joy. I had Jasmine waiting with a single rose she'd bought from her grocery store paycheck. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. After the ceremony, my phone buzzed. Finally. But it wasn't Dad. It was Larry. Hey sis, Dad wanted me to tell you congrats. He's really proud, just couldn't make it because of my tournament. You understand, right? Family first. Family first. The words burned like acid in my chest. I typed and deleted 7 different responses before settling on, thanks. Tell him I said thanks too. What I wanted to say would have taken hours and accomplished nothing. That night, at Jasmine's apartment, because I couldn't afford my own yet, I made a promise to myself while staring at my diploma. Never again would I wait for David Richardson's approval. Never again would I shrink myself to fit into his narrow definition of success. 5 years crawled by like decades. I poured every ounce of pain, every drop of rejection into building Richardson Consulting Group. Yes, I kept his last name for business. Let him see it everywhere and know what he'd dismissed. My specialty became saving failing businesses, the ones everyone else had written off. I understood being underestimated. My first major client was a small chain of Black-owned bookstores on the verge of bankruptcy. Everyone said it was impossible to compete with the big retailers. I restructured their entire business model, helped them pivot to community centers with author events, local art, and cafes. Within 18 months, they'd tripled their revenue. Word spread. Soon I had a waiting list of clients, most of them minority-owned businesses that traditional consultants ignored. I hired a team of 5, then 10, then 20 brilliant minds who'd also been overlooked. During those 5 years, I saw my father exactly 9 times. Every instance was the same. Family dinner at my parents' house where Dad held court, discussing Larry's cases at his law firm and Bethany's medical residency. And Maya, you're still doing that consulting thing? He'd ask without looking up from his steak. Still trying to make that work? It's working quite well, actually. I'd respond each time, voice steady even as my insides churned. We just signed our 50th client last month. That's nice, sweetheart. Larry, tell everyone about the Thompson case. The phone call that changed everything came on a Tuesday morning in October. I was in my office, the corner one I'd finally earned, reviewing a contract when my assistant Terrence buzzed. Maya, you have a call from Forbes magazine. They say it's urgent. My heart stopped. 3 months earlier, I'd been interviewed by a junior reporter doing a piece on emerging Black entrepreneurs. I'd assumed it went nowhere like most press inquiries. Maya Richardson? This is Jennifer Powell, senior editor at Forbes. I'm calling about our 30 Under 30 feature and I have some exciting news. She paused for effect. Not only are you being featured in the issue, but the editorial board has selected you for the cover. You'll be our cover story for the December issue. The room spun. I gripped my desk to stay grounded. I'm sorry, did you say the cover? The cover. Your story is extraordinary. A woman who built a multi-million-dollar consulting firm from nothing, specifically focused on saving minority-owned businesses. It's exactly the narrative we want to highlight. The shoot is in 2 weeks. Can you make it to New York? After I hung up, I sat in silence for 20 minutes. Terrence peeked in twice, worried. Finally, I called Jasmine. I made the Forbes cover, Jazz. You what? Girl, I'm coming over right now. We're celebrating. But all I could think about was that empty chair at my graduation. About 5 years of still doing that consulting thing? The Forbes photo shoot in New York felt surreal. They'd flown me first class, put me up in a hotel that cost more per night than my first apartment's monthly rent. The photographer, a woman named Claire with kind eyes, directed me through dozens of poses. You've got this quiet strength, she said during a break. It comes across in every shot. Like you've survived something that should have broken you. She had no idea how right she was. The styling team dressed me in a sharp navy suit, my natural hair styled in elegant locks that took years to grow. I looked powerful, successful. Everything my father said I'd never be. Tell me your story, Jennifer Powell said during our interview portion, recorder running between us at a cafe in Manhattan. So I did. I told her about working 3 jobs through school. About the family that couldn't see my worth. About building something from nothing while being told I was chasing a fantasy. And now, she prompted. Now I employ 43 people, most of them women and people of color who couldn't get jobs at traditional firms. We've saved over 200 businesses in 5 years. We've kept thousands of jobs in communities that everyone else abandoned. My voice was steady. Proud. And your family? Are they proud now? The question cut deep, but I smiled. My chosen family is incredibly proud. My best friend Jasmine has been my rock since college. My team celebrates every win like it's their own. That's the family that matters. The magazine hit stands on a Monday morning in early December. I'd received my advance copies Friday, spent the entire weekend staring at my face on the cover of Forbes magazine. The headline read, Maya Richardson, the consultant who refuses to let Black businesses fail. My phone exploded with messages. Clients, colleagues, former professors, people I hadn't spoken to in years. News outlets requesting interviews. Business schools asking me to speak. It was overwhelming and validating and terrifying all at once. Jasmine posted my cover on every social media platform known to humanity. That's my best friend. She captioned each one with approximately 7 million emojis. By Monday afternoon, it had been shared thousands of times. Tuesday morning, I was in a meeting with a potential client when Terrence buzzed again. He looked uncomfortable on the video screen. Maya, your mother is online too. She says it's urgent. I hadn't spoken to my mother Patricia in 4 months. Our relationship had always been complicated. She loved me, I knew that, but she loved keeping peace with Dad more. I excused myself and took the call in my office. Maya, sweetheart. We just saw the Forbes magazine. Baby, why didn't you tell us? Her voice was bright, excited, completely oblivious. Tell you what, Mom? About the cover. About Forbes. Your father and I are so proud of you. He's already called everyone at his club. He wants to throw you a party, Mom continued, breathless with excitement. A big celebration at the house. Invite all your clients and colleagues. Show everyone what his daughter has accomplished. Isn't that wonderful? I laughed. Actually laughed. It came out bitter and sharp. What his daughter has accomplished. Mom, he didn't come to my graduation. He spent 5 years asking when I'm going to get a real job. Now I'm on Forbes and suddenly he remembers he has a daughter. Silence stretched between us. Finally, Mom spoke, her voice smaller. Maya, that's not fair. Your father has always supported you. He just shows it differently than Larry and Bethany. Does he, Mom? Because I have $73,000 in student loans that say otherwise. I have 5 years of family dinners being ignored that say otherwise. I have an empty chair at my graduation that says otherwise. Your father is a proud man, Maya. He doesn't always show his emotions well. But he loves you. We both do. Please let him throw this party. Let him celebrate you. I closed my eyes, remembering every slight, every dismissal, every time I'd made myself smaller hoping he'd finally see me. I need to think about it. He's already started planning it for Saturday. Please say yes, baby. It would mean so much to him. There was the real reason for the call. Not, it would mean so much to you, but to him. Always to him. I hung up with Mom and tried to focus on work, but concentration was impossible. An hour later, Larry called. Maya, look, I know you're probably upset, but Dad really wants to do this party. Can't you just let him have this? Let him have this. Larry, do you hear yourself? My voice rose despite my best efforts to stay calm. He has never, not once, celebrated anything I've accomplished. But now that Forbes magazine validates me, suddenly I'm worth his time. It's not like that. Dad's just old school. You know how he is about traditional success paths. Law, medicine, that stuff. But he's coming around. This party is his way of showing he's proud. Then where was he 5 years ago when I graduated? Where was he when I signed my first client? My 10th? My 100th? Where was he, Larry? My brother sighed, the same condescending sigh Dad always used. You've always been so sensitive about this stuff. Dad treats all of us the same. You just take everything personally. The gaslighting was so casual, so practiced, it took my breath away. He paid for your entire education. All of it. Law school included. Bethany, do. I worked 3 jobs, Larry. I ate ramen for dinner 4 nights a week because I couldn't afford anything else. While you were joining fraternities and going to networking events, I was cleaning offices at 2 in the morning. But sure, he treats us all the same. Saturday came faster than I wanted. Despite every instinct screaming at me to decline, I'd agreed to the party. Maybe part of me still hoped Dad had actually changed. Maybe I was a fool. The house was decorated elaborately, Forbes cover blown up poster-sized in the entryway. Catering staff moved efficiently through rooms filled with people I didn't know. Dad's colleagues from his investment firm, Mom's society friends, Larry's law partners. I recognized maybe 5 people. Jasmine arrived early, dressed to kill and ready to be my support. If this gets ugly, just give me the signal and we'll bounce, she whispered as we walked in. Dad spotted me immediately, arms spread wide in a performance of fatherly pride. There she is. My daughter, the Forbes cover girl. The crowd applauded. I felt like a trained seal. He hugged me, the embrace feeling wooden and rehearsed. So proud of you, princess. Always knew you'd make something of yourself. Princess. He'd never called me that before. That was Bethany's nickname. I was always just Maya, if he remembered my name at all. The party progressed like a fever dream. Dad paraded me around, introducing me to his friends as my brilliant daughter, while I smiled and shook hands and made small talk. Every word felt hollow. Then came the speech. Dad clinked his champagne glass, commanding attention as he always did. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight to celebrate my daughter Maya's incredible achievement. Dad's voice boomed across the room. When Maya told me she wanted to go into business consulting, I'll admit I had my doubts. It's a tough field, very competitive. But I taught her to be tough, to never give up. Jasmine grabbed my hand. Hard. He taught me. He taught me. I've always pushed all my children to excellence. That's what good parenting is about. Tough love. Not coddling them or making things easy. I knew Maya had it in her to succeed because she's a Richardson and Richardsons don't quit. The crowd murmured approval. Dad was in his element, rewriting history in real time. She gets her business sense from me, of course. I've been mentoring her behind the scenes for years, helping her make the right connections, the right decisions. That's what fathers do. We guide from the shadows, let our children take the credit. My vision blurred red. Years of therapy keeping me calm suddenly felt insufficient. And now, seeing her on that Forbes cover, I can honestly say I've never been prouder. That's my daughter. My Maya. The one I always believed in, even when she doubted herself. He raised his glass. To Maya. To Maya, the crowd echoed. Everyone was looking at me expectantly, waiting for my response. Jasmine whispered urgently, Maya, breathe. Just breathe. I stood. The room quieted. Jasmine's grip on my hand tightened like she was trying to anchor me to earth. Thank you all for coming, I started, voice steady despite the earthquake inside me. I appreciate the kind words. But I need to set the record straight on a few things. Dad's smile faltered slightly. Mom's face went pale. My father didn't teach me toughness through tough love. He taught me what absence feels like when I graduated with my master's degree and he chose to attend my brother's golf tournament instead. He taught me what rejection feels like when he refused to help with my education while fully funding my siblings. The room went silent. Larry stood from his chair, face flushed. Maya, come on. Not here. Where then, Larry? When is the appropriate time to tell the truth? I turned back to Dad, who looked frozen. You didn't mentor me behind the scenes. You dismissed my career choice for 5 years. You asked me repeatedly when I was going to get a real job. You introduced me at family dinners as, Maya, she does some consulting thing. Your exact words. Maya, sweetheart, you're being dramatic. Dad finally found his voice. I've always supported you. You read my graduation invitation and chose not to come. That's not support. That's a choice. A choice you made that told me exactly where I ranked in your priorities. I pulled up my phone, hands shaking, found the message. I have the text right here. I projected the message thread onto my phone for everyone nearby to see. This is from 5 years ago. Dad, my graduation is Saturday at 3 p.m. I really hope you can make it. It would mean everything to me. His response 4 hours later. Have Larry's tournament. Can't make both. You understand. My voice cracked, but I pushed through. I sent 3 more messages that week. Each one read, none answered. But you want to know the worst part? I looked directly at my father, this man who'd shaped so much of my pain. The worst part is that I spent 5 years wondering what was wrong with me. Why wasn't I worth showing up for? Why wasn't I good enough? I built an entire company partly to prove to you that I mattered. That I was worth your time. Tears streamed down my face now. And you couldn't even be proud of me until Forbes magazine told you to be. You needed external validation to love your own daughter. That's not true, Dad said, but his voice lacked conviction. I've always, no. I cut him off. You haven't always. You haven't always anything except disappoint me. And I'm done. I'm done waiting for you to be the father I needed. I'm done shrinking myself hoping you'll finally notice me. I turned to the crowd. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry this wasn't the celebration you expected. But I can't pretend anymore. I can't smile and accept praise for raising me when he couldn't even show up. I walked toward the door, Jasmine immediately beside me. Behind us, chaos erupted. Mom calling my name, Larry arguing, Dad silent. In the driveway, I finally broke down. Jasmine held me while 5 years of suppressed pain poured out. I'm so proud of you, she whispered. That took more strength than anything you've ever built. The next morning, my phone was flooded with messages. Most from Dad's friends, surprisingly supportive. You deserved better. Your father was wrong. You're an inspiration. Larry sent a long text about family loyalty and forgiveness. Bethany called crying, admitting she'd always known Dad treated me differently but was too scared to speak up. Mom left a voicemail. Your father is devastated. But Maya, baby, you were right about everything. I'm so sorry I didn't protect you. Dad never called. Not that day, not that week, not that month. I threw myself into work, into therapy, into healing. Richardson Consulting Group thrived. My team became my real family. But sometimes late at night I still grieved. Not for the relationship I had with my father, but for the one I'd never have. The Forbes cover stayed on my office wall, a reminder. Not of his validation but of mine. I built this. Me. Maya Richardson. The daughter who was worth showing up for, even if her father never learned that lesson. And as painful as it was, walking away from his conditional love was the most powerful thing I ever did. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Share your own stories of overcoming family pain in the comments below. Remember, your worth isn't determined by those who can't see it. Sometimes the family we choose loves us better than the family we're born into. And that's okay.